You might have been there, tried to be there at least. This official announcement from Ron DeSantis last night came via video that he released, that he was running for president of the United States. But the Twitter session he had right after that video was released with Elon Musk, it didn't work out as well as had been expected, Kevin. I was on there probably 4 or 5 times, kept getting booted off, and I thought it was my phone, but it turned out that the internet broke because of this much anticipated announcement. They could not handle the flow of streamers that were piling on trying to listen in.
Yeah, I watched DeSantis on Fox after he was on for about an hour.
That was a great interview.
He did very
Phenomenal.
well. Very well. Ron DeSantis made a lot of great points and did a very nice job on Fox. So the Twitter meltdown, he sort of spun that and said, yeah, so many people wanted to hear from me. I broke Twitter.
Yes.
Kind of lemonade out of lemons. Is that what they say?
Yes.
I guess for Ron DeSantis, this has probably been a good thing. Probably more people talked about Twitter, busting down, or Joe Biden. He put out a tweet that said, "Hey, this link works. You can donate to my campaign." That was pretty funny. I kind of like that. Joe Biden made me laugh.
No mention of the Affordable Care Act rollout that broke back in 2012.
But anyway, either way, whether Twitter was working or not, Ron DeSantis is in the race, and that should shake things up. Let's bring in Roshini Rajkumar, political strategist and host of The Crisis Files. Hey, Roshini, how are you?
I'm doing well. Another kind of fun layer to the 2024 cycle.
So fun.
I know. I kind of thought we've known Ron DeSantis was going to get in for so long. We've been waiting, and then finally this was the week he was going to do it. And Tim Scott kind of jumped in front of him, and then Ron DeSantis finally gets into the thing, and then he did get a news cycle on it because Twitter blew up and everyone wanted to make fun of him for it. How do you think Ron DeSantis did as far as his introduction to being a candidate?
Normally I would say this was such a disaster, but as you look at the various layers with his campaign saying, look, they broke the internet because 600,000 roughly plus people were attempting to get on Twitter to listen. I mean, I guess you could call that a mini win. The fact that all these other outlets are covering it. We're talking about it on your show this morning. And even Biden jumped in there and made a little funny. I mean, I got to give him some credit. His team made a funny with that one, but it's only because of what happened with the DeSantis announcement. Now, it's probably helpful that he had that interview on Fox and probably came off to a lot of people looking pretty good. But I think if you're showing like, hey, I tried to do something in this new age of digital and announcements on Twitter, following people like Tucker Carlson and all the things that Elon Musk is doing on Twitter. That's kind of one of the platforms to watch right now, even if sometimes what happens on Twitter is a train wreck. So there's the news cycle out of it, Kevin and Tom, and often that's considered a win.
As I listened to him, I tried to see if he was saying one thing that Donald Trump would disagree with, and I really didn't hear anything. He really sounds like Donald Trump, only more professional, more presidential, more
polished,
reserved, more polished. And boy, I think that could appeal to a lot of people once they really get into this and start getting to know Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, I think you're right. And the other piece of this is most of us are so wanting someone who seems and feels and sounds like and looks like a president, because we've had so many years now of just craziness and strangeness and bombastic, depending on who you're talking about, coming out of the White House. So this is why, and I said to you both the other day after we talked about Tim Scott, that August 1st debate, GOP debate, is going to be a big one. And we're really going to see the matchup of whoever does show up on that stage that day. I'm going to be very interested in that. That's going to be appointment TV for me. And we'll see, is he as articulate, is DeSantis as articulate and bringing confidence to voters when he's on a stage with questions he doesn't necessarily know are coming, as well as when he's in a matchup against his opponents.
He's very articulate. There's no question about it. That's one of the things I was so impressed with the interview with Trey Gowdy last night on Fox News. And he said, listen, he goes, truth needs to be the foundation of everything we do. And that was kind of an overriding message that DeSantis had last night. I mean, I get so many questions from people asking nowadays, how do I know it's true? People are just kind of beside themselves wondering what's going on in this world. Do you think DeSantis is really tapping into that in terms of the right messages of what he believes would bring more normalcy to our society? Is he hitting the right messaging?
He seems to be hitting the right messaging, Tom, even in their tagline and, even on his wife's Twitter bio bullets, it says, First Lady of Florida, but she even mentions the tagline, the Great American Comeback. And so that line, that motto, so to speak, is really going to resonate with people right now because the United States is in a bit of a decline. I mean, we've got prices at the pump, prices when you're going to go buy milk and bread. We've got the China threat. We've got so many things going on that really put into question how strong is America on the global scale, even within our own borders. So that Great American Comeback line is one that I think a lot of people can get behind. It's also, when I just break it down as strategic messaging, because that's what I do, when I really break that down, it so is open to also pick up some of the Trump fans, because that's partly what Trump is about. It's like, make America great again, but America is having some tough times. We are hurting. So the Great American Comeback is really part of that big American dream. So I think it's on the spot for messaging. That's
what he has to do. If he's going to win the primary, he's got to get into the Trump base and the Make America Great. Well, you look to Florida. America is pretty great in Florida for those types of people with that kind of ideology. So he's got the track record. He's bringing up the examples of choosing fact over fear is what he says, and, education over indoctrination. Is that going to be successful in getting those Trump-committed voters to say, you know what, maybe Ron DeSantis is the guy? Will that work?
Yeah, he has to run sort of a double-prong approach, and he can't be really aggressive toward those Trump voters. He has to kind of do that slow drip, like, maybe after that fifth cup of coffee, I like the taste. I like what DeSantis is saying, and understanding it's not going to happen on that first cup. But then he has at the same time this opportunity to get all the people out there that are feeling either disenfranchised or just really confused about the state of leadership in our country. And I think that's a lot of people that aren't just in the Trump camp. And you've got independents in that bracket. You've got Republicans that want a central voice. You've got Democrats who want some sort of level of whether it's centrism or just rationality. So he has some opportunities here. His flaw, though, or I shouldn't say flaw, but maybe Achilles heel, is he's got to be careful on some of the social issues to beat that drum too hard that it then kind of turns off some of those new voters or the Trump voters that he could actually get into his camp.
Rudy Giuliani said Ron DeSantis is helping Joe Biden. He's helping Biden by splitting the party, creating a bitter primary that's going to hurt Republicans and help Biden. But he also said there's no doubt that Trump got him elected. If someone got me elected, I would feel some sense of loyalty to him. Will DeSantis take any hits for not being loyal to Trump?
Yeah, I mean, of course he will. But, here's what I say to Rudy Giuliani and others. We've got to support a new wave of leadership, the next generation of leadership for both parties or all parties, however you look at the number of parties we have, has got to surface. And we as a country need to be open to that. And the leadership and the seniors and when I say seniors, like the established leaders in these other parties, in the Republican and Democratic camps, need to be open and can't just be brash and against the new voices.
Always appreciate your take on things. Roshini Rajkumar, political strategist, host of the Crisis Files podcast. Thanks so much.